Hello everyone, Reginald Scott here. Welcome to the video. I do hope you're all doing well today, and thank you very much for clicking on the video. I really appreciate it. So today I've got a little bit of a mystery unboxing video for you. This package just arrived from China and I'm rather excited to show you what's inside. I've been looking at this set of bicycle tools for a little while now, and I was getting by with the tools that I had. But this is a definite improvement on the system that I was using. I got it from Aliexpress and it cost me around $35 US. Plus shipping came to roughly $60 US. Just under 60, I think it was like $59.80. So nearly 50% of the total price of this thing was shipping. Right, let's open it up and show you what's inside. Oh, before I do that, do me a favor, stick a like, comment, and subscribe or share with a friend. That would be absolutely amazing, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, let's take a look at this tool. What we have here is a manual. Now, I've actually been perusing this manual. It's pretty basic. The first half is in Chinese, Cantonese, no idea which, but some kind of Asian language. I'm guessing it's some form of Chinese, and the other half is in English, which really helps me a great deal. It's a little bit confusing, possibly because of the translation in the manual, but it is fairly comprehensive, and it just shows you the basics of how to put everything together and how to use the tool. So what this tool is a system for removing bearings from bottom brackets. Now, if you've got a bottom bracket shell like a BB86 in your bike, the tool that a lot of bike mechanics end up using is something like this. So one of these kind of drifts that are spring-loaded, and you basically, let's take this one out just to show you, you shove it inside the bottom bracket, pull it in, snaps into position like that, and then you basically hammer the bearing out from the back. Like I say, this one works for BB86. These larger ones are for headsets and stuff. It's a bit of a brutal method. It often leads to a lot of damage to the bearings, which means then you have to just replace the bearings or the bearing units, and it's not particularly healthy on the bicycle frames. So it's not a great method, whereas this, no impact is used. This basically pulls and or pushes bearings out of shells and out of cups, and it also puts them back as well. Now, I have got dedicated bearing presses to do that job, but it's nice just to have a little bit of extra tooling lying around that I could use to do that as well. Now, first off, with this Chinese set of presses and pullers, it isn't the same quality as something like some of the Western brand stuff.
Emotional damage!
Now, that's not to say that Chinese companies can't produce stuff which is of equal quality to what is sold by Western companies, because a lot of the Western companies are actually just selling stuff that's been made in China with their own branding on it. The difference is that the quality control is much higher when it's a Western brand selling those products. So they will have their own people in Asia monitoring the manufacturing process and making sure that all the cups and everything that's produced and all the drifts and whatnot are of a really high standard. Now, because this is a cheaper Chinese set of tools from a less well-known company, sort of a very generic set, it tends to be a bit less quality, but it works, and that's the main thing. So although I am, criticizing the quality of this thing slightly, it's not anything more than a little bit of aesthetic issue or a little bit of roughness here and there that is very forgivable for the price. So, for example, the manual that comes, it displays this puller press system here with a threaded rod, which has actually got an Allen key head on the end of it, or a hex key head, and you get given a hex key in order to wind it, basically, in order to screw the thread in. Now, that hex key actually comes with this set, I bought the more expensive set that actually comes with a proper sort of press tool head on it with a set of knurled handles. Okay, so this key is actually useless. It doesn't fit with anything. But if you look at the quality of the key they send you, all the coating is coming off it. So if you buy the cheaper version, which I didn't opt for, there is a cheaper version to this that doesn't include the proper press head. Just comes with the key and the threaded bolt. Weirdly, they sent me the key anyway. This is kind of the quality of stuff that you're looking at. And here's the thing, it's still going to work. It's just a little bit rough. You can see all the coating is coming off on my fingers. So not great, but doesn't really matter that much is what I'm trying to get at. Here's the threaded rod that I'll be using on my press / pulling tool. This one, as you can see, doesn't have an Allen key head on it. And like I say, the reason for that is because we have this unit here, which has got its own little independent bearing in it, which is quite interesting actually for the design. So that screws on there like this. I'll just screw that on now. And actually the threading is quite nice on this. There's a little bit of play in it, obviously. The machining is not as perfect as you would expect from something like wheelsmanufacturing.com, from some of their tooling. But it's still nice and smooth, and it still goes on relatively easily. So once you've done that, you can stick your handles in it like this. Nice and squeaky. I might put something on these, like a bit of grease or something, just to stop them from squeaking in the future. And there we have the top of our press pulling tool. There you go. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? I went for the blue one, not the black one. They do it in a blue and a black. I already have a lot of black tools. I don't have any blue ones. But like I say, it does come in black. If everything has to be black with you, don't worry. With this, you've got a variety of tools that go onto it. This is like a big spacer, but this also doubles as your claw for pulling the bearings and pushing the bearings out. So what you have is these little units, which are held together by a rubber ring. And these are your teeth, basically, that grip and grab hold of the bearings. And these come in a variety of sizes. This is for 24 millimeters, I believe. And then you have some bigger ones here. Not sure. One of these is going to be for 30. Maybe another one is for 29 or something bigger. This looks very similar to another tool that I have. Let's just open this. As soon as I saw it, there we go. See that this is the part tools dismantling tool for BB or PF30, BB30. So this one is definitely a BB30 tool. What else have we got in here? We've got this spacer. Not entirely sure where this goes. Looking at the manual, again, like I say, it's not 100% clear what's going in. They don't show you stage by stage, they just read it out. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where this goes, but I will work it out myself, or I'll decide myself where it needs to go based on, just general mechanical knowledge. You get a nut, which fits on the end sometimes. This, I've discovered, is for pressing the bearings back in. You get some spare rubber bands or spare silicone rings, O-rings, which is fantastic. So when these things eventually wear out or fail, you can replace them. And then you get this sort of nice variety of drifts and pressers. So this is one of the most important tools that comes with the system. And this one adapts depending on the size of the bearings. So you've actually got these adapters that fit into this cup. And this cup is your space that you press the bearings into. There you go, see, so it can change in size depending on what bearing you're pushing out. And then you have a matching set of these drifts that go with them. So 24 millimeter, 22 to 37, 24 to 37, 22, and What's this one? Should be 30 to 42. 42 millimeters. Wow, that's impressive.
42?
All of these integrate into this big cup, so that allows you to get it around the bottom bracket. So I'm going to do a demonstration with you and show you how this thing is supposed to be used. Right, there was a bit of a jump cut there. Did anybody notice the jump cut? They say only the most intelligent and best looking people notice that jump cut. If you did notice the jump cut, you should definitely like and subscribe to this video. Anyway, moving on. So these are all the tools that I think I need for dismounting this bearing and pushing it back in. Let's give it a go and see whether it works or not. So you have to imagine that this bearing is screwed into, this cup and bearing is screwed into a frame, okay? And you can enter the frame from both sides, but the aperture that you have is only as big as the internal diameter of the bearing, right? So first off, you get this thing inside, and the reason it's on an elastic is so it's sort of a bit springy, and it fits inside here without getting caught. So the first thing you would do is pop this in, right? Once you've got that in there, you can insert this long rod device that goes all the way through the bottom of your bottom bracket from the opposite side. This has got a bit of a chamfer on it, and that keys into the back of this claw, and it expands inside the bottom bracket shell and behind the bearing that you're about to push out. Okay, so once you've got that in there, then you can push through your I don't know what you call it, press device. I guess you're pressing the bearing out. So there you go. So you can push your press through like that. And then on this side, we need to put this cup. Now, this cup is the wrong size for this outer diameter of the bearing cup here. So we need to use this adapter. So the adapter goes on, and then we can spin this thing on. This has got a threaded end to it. And I can do it with my fingers, but it also has a key on it as well if you want to use a spanner or something like that. So that goes on there like that. And see, notice that that extra ring fits inside the cup, look. So that gives something for this edge to sit against, so it holds it nice and firmly inside the lip of the cup here, so it doesn't move around when you're pressing the bearing out. There we go. And there is a man wandering around outside with some kind of UPS jacket on. So I will go and collect the subject of another video, which has just arrived. Hang on. Okay guys, something just turned up, and I actually thought it was another delivery that I'm expecting. And unfortunately, it's not what I was expecting. It turned out to be pizzas. My wife ordered pizza, so I've got, I think that's a meat lovers in there with mixed with something else. My wife always goes half-half with her pizzas, and this should be mine. Yes, I know I'm part Italian, but I do eat pineapple on pizza. Don't tell my cousins. They will never talk to me again. So, there you go. Let's get back to the video. Oh man, everywhere smells like pizza right now. It's making me really hungry. Right, here's the tool all set up. Now, I don't believe we need to stick the nut on the end, but I'm going to anyway, just for a bit of added security. There we go. And because these two things are keyed for a spanner, you can basically tighten them against each other so they don't move, because the only thing that needs to move really is this. And basically what's going to happen is, as I turn this clockwise, it's going to drive the bearing out and into the back of this cup. Sort of like a mitt catching a baseball. There we go, there's a reference for you Americans out there, which I know make up the majority of my viewers. There you go. So that has just moved. Do they call it a mitt, or is it a glove? Is it a baseball glove or a baseball mitt? I have no idea. This game we used to play in the UK is called Rounders. and it's a game traditionally played by school children, and it's very similar to baseball. But yeah, it was just not something I was ever that interested in. Obviously, I was more interested in bicycles. There we go. So that dismantles like that, and there is our bearing. So it just got pushed out of the cup. You can see how dirty and manky this old cup is. So once you've done that, you can clean the inside of the cup. You can just clean these bearings and replace them. So clean the inside of the cup, get a new bearing, and get it ready to press in. Or like I say, if the customer, in my situation, wants me to reuse their bearings, if they're not too bad, this one actually is not that bad, still feels fairly smooth, you could then press them back in. Got your press tool, and we're going to press this back in here, a bit like you would do, I say, normal bearing press. But you've still got to imagine that this is in the bicycle frame. So it's still here in the bike frame with the BB shell in the middle and another one of these cups on the other end. So in order to press this in, I reckon we're going to need this. Let's stick it all on the threaded rod like a kebab while we decide what various different fruits and vegetables are going to go on, and meat. You're going to need that same drift or rod here, this thing on the end, in order to create space or to reduce the space. Then I'm guessing this cup would go on the end. Now interestingly, that chamfer fits in there, so I'm guessing that goes on like that. Yeah, that seems logical. Now, under normal circumstances, this would be pressing against the shell of the BB. This would be on one side of the bottom bracket shell, and this cup would be screwed into the other, so you could just press the bearing in. But because we don't have a bottom bracket shell, this thing's moving backwards and forwards, okay? So ours is going to sit all the way down in there. And then you could remove this spacer like that and just press it in like this. Okay, so that would be the easiest way of doing things. Okay, just press it in directly like that. But I'm going to pretend that it's still in the bike frame. So what I'm going to do is put this tool on top of there. Let's stick the nut on the end of this one, just to stop that from sliding around. Okay, that one there. And then I'm going to put something here to represent the edge of the frame. There we go. Okay, so I can use either side of this one here to represent this pushing against our bike frame. Perfect. Okay, so then goes the 25mm drift on that side, and on top goes our press handle. There we go. That wasn't too difficult. So like I say, imagine there's another cup on this side. This tool is in the middle of the frame. This represents the outer edge of the frame where this cup is threaded into. Obviously, this would be shorter. We're actually running out of rod because we're pressing against this threaded section rather than directly up against the frame. But we should have enough. If I tear the threads off this, then we can all laugh together. There we go. Sorted. Took a little bit of working out, but we got there in the end. Obviously, the more you use something like this, the faster you'll get at doing it. There you are. Perfect. So that is how you use this tool. That is what this tool is for. I'm really happy with it, actually. Let's examine each part of this component and of these components, should I say, and check them for quality. So, threaded rod, something you'd probably just buy in any old hardware store. Nothing too fancy there. Yes, you've got your common garden nut. you know, like your common garden finch or something. It's an old Goons joke. You might not get the reference. This thing, perfectly nice actually, really well made. I love how these two mate together in there. That's really nice design actually. Very clever. This handle with the bearings on it, also very nice. The handles thread in really positively and they don't rattle. The knurling on the handles is really nice as well. The anodization is nice. Lovely blue color. So that's all well and good. I noticed with a couple of these drifts, they've got some damage on them, I think. Here we go, look. So you see when they come, they're a little bit pre-chewed up. So that's either happened in transit, although they've been in a soft bit of packaging, or that's in the factory, maybe when they're rolling off the machines and they're just getting knocked together. The sort of thing that you wouldn't see on a more expensive Western branded tool set. This one is the most obvious one here. I've never used this tool, and there's this great big chip in it. I say great big, it's tiny, but you know, it just stands out a mile away against the blue finish. So like I say, it's not perfect, but for $35 US, it's pretty damn good. I'll just compare it with one of my favorite tools I've shown you guys if you've seen my channel before, and it's just a work of art. And like I say, these things, they don't come pre-scratched. Any damage to these is as a result of use. In fact, one of these presses is badly damaged, but it was a result of one of the mechanics I was hiring at the time, not myself. I cried a little bit when I found it. It got really badly chewed up, but still, it's a lovely press. Definitely recommend this company if you want like the best of the best. Right, folks, that is that. So this thing, like I say, it will do PF30, BB30, BB90, BB86, you name it, it will do it. As you can see from the manual, both removing and pressing back in all of those bearings without the need for hitting things with large hammers and you know, just messing up bike frames. A lovely tool. Now you can of course make something like this at home. There are videos on YouTube of how to do that, but to be honest with you, when it's as cheap as this, $35, it's just not worth it. It's such a nice set for so little money. It comes in a box and you know it works, and you even get a manual with it as well. Whereas if you make your own, you're going to get to the stage where you can probably get by with it for a home mechanic if you make your own, but eventually you're going to come up short on one of these drifts. You're going to come up short on one of these things, and then you're going to have to make another one, and it's just time. And as somebody stated in a previous video of mine in the comments, time is money. So there you go. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful to you. Any questions, as usual, stick them in the comments below. I will get back to you. And as always, folks, safe riding. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, guys, quickly, just before I go, I have my eyes on another bike tool on Aliexpress. Something similar to this, but even bigger, like way more parts to it. And something I really don't need, but I'd like. So if you would like to see that bike tool, don't forget to like this video, please do subscribe and share with a friend. And hopefully I can get around to raising the cash to get that thing. It's a little bit more pricey than this one. Thank you so much, as always, folks. And as I say, safe riding.